Hello, my name is Nate. Welcome to my art lab. Every month I challenge my Patreon group to do some kind of technique or color palette, something like that, something to challenge their skills and grow as artists. But this month I did something a little bit different. I gave them a theme. So they could do any kind of technique that they wanted to, whatever they're most comfortable with or whatever they're inspired to do, but they had to use transparency to their advantage. So for the newbies out there, the definition of transparency is the degree to which light travels through a color to reveal the other colors underneath it. So when you're looking at your paints, this is Amsterdam greenish blue, one of my favorite colors. And on good quality paints, you will see a little square on the label. This one is completely open. So it is a blank square. That means that it is transparent. And this color, which is primary cyan, you will see that that same little square has a line to it. That means that it's semi-transparent. So it's not fully transparent, it's a little opaque. And then the next level of transparency is semi-opaque. So you can see that the square is filled in on one half. So this is even more opaque than the semi-transparent. And then a fully transparent color, like Amsterdam titanium white, will have the square that is completely filled in. This means that if you layer this color on top of another color, it is likely to completely cover that color and not reveal the color underneath it. So there's different kinds of transparency also. This one is an interference color from Amsterdam. This is pearl blue. And you can see that it is transparent also by that little square that is completely open on the label. But it is used in a very different way. So I'm going to do a little demonstration of opacity and transparency, and we're going to do a little bit of swiping with my palette knife, and we're going to swipe that opaque white over top of the other colors, and we're going to swipe those colors over top of the white and see how they react to each other, and hopefully get a good understanding of how you can use these colors to your advantage. So we're going to make a little puddle of white. I have thinned these paints down so that they are about a 2 on the consistency scale. It does leave a little mound on a mound, disappears fairly quickly. If I drizzle the color around off of the stir stick, it leaves about a 2-second trace. So this is it's a little thinner than a medium consistency. So I'm going to take my transparent color, which is the greenish blue. I'm going to put a little bit on top of my palette knife, like so. And then we're going to swipe over top of the white. There you go. So you can see that the thinner it gets, the lighter it gets, but you can see that there's white underneath. I started on the canvas here. This is what it looks like without any white underneath it. And then as I swipe across, you can see that it reveals the color underneath. Let's do the exact same thing with the semi-transparent. And use the cyan blue instead of the greenish blue and see what the difference is. Don't need a lot. And so we're going to start off of the thing here and then swipe over top. And again, this is more transparent than opaque, so it hasn't covered completely the white, but it is a little more, in the areas where it's thicker, it is a little more opaque. So let's do again the color that is next on the scale, which is semi-opaque, which is my yellowish green from Amsterdam. Start on the the canvas. Ooh, still pretty transparent, isn't it? Interesting. You'll notice also that opacity and transparency kind of goes dark to light. So the more transparent it is, the darker it is, and the lighter it is, the more opaque it is. But that is a general rule. Let's say burnt umber is usually a very transparent color, but black is an opaque color. So you need to check your labels to make sure, or do a little test like this and see how these colors are going to react. That is actually far more transparent than I was expecting it to be. So let's do it the opposite direction. Let's put a fully transparent color down and swipe with the white and see if we get a different reaction. There we go. We're going to start on the canvas and then swipe over top. Look at how much less the blue shows up through the white. That's a really good, you can really tell the difference there. All right. Then the last thing I want to show you is the interference color, which is the pearl blue. This is an interference color, and because it's transparent, the light's going to travel through it. If it's swiped over top of white, which I will try here in a moment, you won't be able to see it at all even after it dries. But if I do this over top of a dark color, even a transparent one, it will have a very beautiful glow to it. So let's do the blue first, the dark blue. I'll show you what it looks like over top of a dark color. And where'd my palette? Oh, there it is. And we're going to put the pearl blue on top of the palette knife. A good amount of it there. It is very transparent. Okay. So now we're going to swipe over top of that. You can see already, it appears white in the cup, but as it goes over, the light is traveling through it into the blue and giving it a really cool glow. That glow will be even more pronounced once it's dry. But if we try that with white, and put the pearl on top, it completely disappears. So we'll check back on this once it's dry, and I will be able to show you that pearl blue result even better. But I'm going to use these colors now in a pour. Oh, actually, before I do, I have a mystery color here. This is from my slop bucket. So this is, I know greenish blue, there's a lot of greenish blue in here, which is a very transparent color, but all of my colors that I've been using for the last week and a half have just gone, all of my leftovers have gone into the same container. So this has all kinds of different colors. This has some, this little Piggy pigments in it. It has some metallics in it, has all kinds of colors in it, and I'm not sure how transparent it is still going to be. So I'm going to swipe it over top of some white, and let's see what it looks like. I have a feeling it's going to be at least semi-opaque, because I know there's some black in there and I know there's some white in there, so it's not going to be fully transparent any longer. So let's do the same little test and we will see together. I got a little deep there when I was swiping, but that tells me that this is at least semi-opaque, maybe opaque. So we're going to use that color also in our pour. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I'm working on a 24 by 24 inch canvas. This needs about 22 ounces of paint in order to cover the whole surface and all of the sides. And I'm going to do a thin consistency puddle pour, and then I'm going to tilt it out. Let me show you I'm using the exact same colors that I used in my demonstration of the transparency and opacity, but I have thinned these down so that they just barely leave the slightest little mound before it melts back in. I call this a disappearing mound. This is a good consistency for a Dutch pour or a blowout of some kind. So I'm going to use my mystery color, my slop bucket color, as my base coat. And I'm just going to pour a nice big puddle. This is about 10 ounces of paint. And I'm not going to tilt it around. I'm also not going to worry about the air bubbles that are in there. I'm just going to use all of this and leave a nice, thick puddle of paint here on the canvas. And then I'm going to, actually I am going to pop those air bubbles. It bothers me, I don't know why it does. But this is a thin consistency paint. The air bubbles should pop themselves. Because it's thin, the air bubbles will rise very quickly. So I shouldn't have to worry about that too much. Okay, before this spreads out too much, I'm gonna start from opaque all the way to transparent and walk my way through it. So I'm going to take this color, which is the Amsterdam Titanium White. Let's make sure, yeah. This is the Amsterdam Titanium White, not the Pearl Blue, which look very similar in the cups together. I'm going to start pouring this in directly in the center, but I'm going to pour it from way up high, at least a foot off of the canvas. And I'm going to let those colors churn. And then our semi-opaque is the yellowish green, and I'm going to do the exact same thing, and I'm going to pour it from way up high and let those colors churn. And then we're going to go to our semi-transparent, which is the cyan blue. And then we're going to do the greenish blue, which is the darkest color, from way up high. And then we're going to do the pearl blue on top of that. Because this needs a darker color, I'm intentionally using this color last. So pour it from way up high, let that churn. I'm going to pop the air bubbles again. Because pouring it from up high causes lots of churning and air bubbles to go down in. That's super cool. I almost wish I had this on my spinner, but I don't, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to pour the rest of this around this puddle. I'll put some out here on the corners. This should be enough paint to cover the entire surface. And I'm going to tilt this very slowly because it's very thin consistency paints. And here we go. Let's see what kind of interesting composition we can get. I'll swirl that around and just cover some of my surface first. Before I start going towards the corners, we always go to the corners first because they're the hardest to get to and cover. And if we go to a corner and go off the edge, like so, I'm going to anchor that here. Then we always come back towards the center. There we go. And we're going to come over and get this corner right here in the front also. Just notice that I'm tilting very, very slowly. We don't want to rush the fun parts. We also don't want wonky lines. There we go. So let's bring that down a little bit. Try and keep this in frame. Let's go off this side right here and anchor it in that spot. Lose a little bit of paint, there we go. Bring it back towards the center. I can see this pearl blue doing some really fun things right there, so I'm gonna make sure that I keep that. This is really pretty out here on the outside edge too, with that electric yellow green. Really pretty. Okay, so let's come down to this corner. We're actually gonna go off on the corner, or as close as we can get it. We're gonna walk it back and forth, not going in a straight line, but going in that general direction. Edge and then off the corner. Like so. Bring that weight back so it doesn't keep going off the edge. And let's flip that around and we'll get the last corner. Let's bring that back a little bit more. Bringing the weight of my paint back to the center so I can choose my composition again. This time I don't want to go over the corner again. I've already done that once. I want to kind of anchor here. Come off this side. Nice. Now, my cups always move on me when I don't have push pins instead. Oh, this is cool. All right. I think I want to bring the whole thing back down towards me. So let's flip this around. I'll come back this direction. I'll set that on the table so I can introduce a bit of a curve here on this edge, this top edge, towards me. And I think I'll go down that same spot. Just lose a little bit more paint without changing the composition. I'm gonna get that pearl blue churn off the end there. There we go. We'll bring that back. Sorry, I'm off camera. Paint is barely moving at all, so I've taken enough paint off of this canvas. Adjust my cups again. Okay, let me fix my sides and edges and I'll bring you in for a close-up. And here is the wet result of our transparency pour. I'm really happy with this. I love it. I think it really shows off the difference between the opaques and the transparents. If you come out here to where I layered the opaques first, there's very little blending. Even though I poured it from way up high, they created very stark lines, blocks of color. But as it gets more transparent, you can see more of the other colors underneath. There's some yellowish green popping through. This whole section here is going to dry with a really cool blue glow to it because of that pearl blue. I'm excited to see this dry. The little flecks in there, like that little area right there, that's from where there was lots of air bubbles. And I don't mind that actually. It adds some texture to it. I know a lot of people don't like the air bubbles, but sometimes they don't bother me, and in this one they don't. I love that electric yellowish green is really pretty. There's a couple of really pretty cells right here too. Very, very cool. So let's see how this dries, and I'll show you the results of the demonstration piece too. Okay, here's the dry result of our swipe test. So the opaque to transparent swipes, I think this is very, they've dried exactly the same as they were before. Maybe the blues are a little bit darker, but you can still see where the opaques are much more concentrated in color, where the more transparent colors are much more blended, and you can see the white color coming from underneath. But the real reason I wanted to show you the dry results of this swipe test is because of the pearl blue. So the white, you can see that there's like a creamy look over top of the white, and over top of the blue you can tell there's something there. But as soon as you add some light to it, you can really see the glow. You can see it on top of the white, but it is much more apparent over top of that dark blue. Isn't that beautiful? I could have gotten a very similar look if I had used one of the interference colors from this little Piggy pigment. The TLPs are all transparent except for their neon line. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? And their interference colors will have a very similar look over top of a dark color, maybe a little more metallic rather than just a soft glow like this. But I think that is a pretty cool little experiment there. And let me show you then the pour that we did. I really love the way this dried. As it dried, the blues that are transparent became even more transparent. And so a lot more of the greenish blue, the yellowish green showed up from the puddle pour. I really love the way that looks, almost speckled. But you can see all of the different layers of color in there. A little bit of cloudiness here in the center from the pearl blue. And the outside edges, I love how the opaque colors are much more concentrated in color. But when we add the light from that pearl blue, look at how it really changes in the light. I think that is super cool. So I hope this was a useful demonstration of the difference between opacity and transparency. I hope you can use this information in your pours in the future. Stay tuned. Coming up after me, right here in this video, I have some pictures from my Art Lab members who also submitted their pieces for this month's Transparency Challenge. And then we have a short train of the Art Lab members who have YouTube channels, so check in the description box for the playlist for all of those videos also. Check them out. I know a couple of people did transparent base coats, and I can't wait to see what they did. So I hope you follow along with all of that. I hope you learned something, hope you're inspired to try something new, and go mix up some paints and be fearless.
It's gonna be a fine day today, I can see. It's gonna be a fine day today, I can see. Gonna be a fine day today for you and me. It's gonna be a fine